Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Om Namo Narayanaya Tasmai Namaswami Tapovanaya. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yatkripa tamaham vande paramananda madhavam. Om Namo Narayanaya. Krishna Krishna Krishna. Hari Om, pranams, salutations to everyone, and Shri Krishna Janmashtami greetings to all. So on this very special day and a very auspicious occasion, we'll have a special discussion and reflections on Shri Krishna's promises made in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Okay, Krishna's promises as Janmashtami special. How good we are, how we fare in keeping our promises, our words, only we know. But that's just us, right? With respect to Bhagavan, his words, for him, a sankalpa is enough. Sankalpa matrena, he is capable of fulfilling whatever he needs to get done. A mere thought, a mere will, a mere wish is enough. That is so powerful. Then what to talk of words? When he has himself spoken those words, he does not have to really take efforts to fulfill those words and keep those promises. Is Satya Sankalpaya Namaha. Satya Sankalpa, just if a thought has come, he has willed it, it's done. When that thought itself, at the thought level itself, it's ensured that it's done, what to spoke of his words, which is even another grosser level of manifestation. So it's not like it's promises and then he has to keep it up and fulfill it. It means it's Satya Vachaha. It's done. This is the truth, the universal truth, the guaranteed facts that he's talking about. So in a way, Krishna's promises, when he says, it's not like he has to keep something. He is just expressing out of love and compassion for us certain universal facts which will put us at ease. Don't worry about these few things, which you always seem to doubt or have so much worry about. It's all taken care. So what are those such facts, truths, which will put these seekers at ease? Let's see. There may be many in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. I took out some 8 or 9, and we'll see as much as time permits today. The first one we'll take up for reflection is from chapter 4. When Bhagavan explains about Avatara, when and how and why he takes Avatara, the Avatara Rahasya. In that context, the very famous slokas of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and he says at that time, Dharma samsthapanardaya sambhavami yuge yuge. I manifest myself for establishing Dharma, time and again. In those two slokas, chapter 4th, 7th and 8th sloka, he says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bharata. Whenever Dharma is on the decline and adharma is on the rise, to establish Dharma. And how do I establish Dharma? Dharma is not like an object, a book which is kept on the table. It is a virtue. It abides, it resides, it lives in people who value it, who protect it, who abide in it. So by protecting those who abide dharma, dharma is protected. So paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya dushkritam. When the wicked are more in number, dharma cannot thrive. Right? When rajas and tamas becomes too much out of proportion, then sattva cannot thrive. The rajas and tamas too much in proportion will aggravate adharma, isn't it? So to bring everything into balance, what does Bhagavan do? He himself incarnates, that is, manifests himself to induce sattva by protecting the good people and by punishing, correcting the evil people who do not abide by dharma. So exactly when will we know? Is it not the right time? Already there is adharma already on the rise, it looks like. That's how we feel. See, when and exactly how and to whom and all that, it's not something we can know or predict. It's all his own sweet will, his complete independent freedom and choice. Bhagavan will, whether he wants to manifest all his amsas, all his aspects as a Purna Avatara, or whether he'll come as a Avesha Avatara, or a Amsha Avatara, or a Nitya Avatara, as a realized person, as a Yoga Purusha, he may manifest as a Nitya Avatara, as a Guru, as per the need of the hour, and as per his own sweet independent will. He will manifest himself time and again, but the promise is that he will manifest for the purpose of establishing dharma. Dharma, righteousness. Okay. So it's like this, right? In agriculture, we know that a farmer needs to regularly weed. Weeding and manuring has to happen at regular intervals. That's a must. So also for this humankind to be fertile and prosperous, regular weeding is needed. And sometimes the landowner, the boss, the Yajaman himself might put his boots on and enter into the field. Not that he needs to work, he can get it done through the other laborers, but he just comes out in the sun, just supervises how the people work and how the land is and everything. Is fully aware of his leadership, of his, that he is the master. Right? So like that, and sometimes we know why, because Bhagavan can get it done through any instrument, even an inanimate object is enough. Then why Bhagavan has to himself come? So many explanations are there, but the most sweetest and yathartha truth is that out of compassion only, and as per the need. Right? Sometimes for an ordinary traffic jam, a traffic police is enough to clear it. But when there is a riot, a chief for police is required. Isn't it? For ordinary things, the ministers may take care. But when there is a bigger thing like a calamity or something, then the prime minister himself surveys everything. Or if it's a surgical strike, then he himself gets involved very much. So depending on the severity and God willing, he will manifest himself. And this is not just in the outer world, very much so in the outer world also, and also in our inner world, when there are so many weeds of negative thoughts and asuric thoughts, demonic thoughts are there on the rise, and the spiritual aspirant is feeling weak and calls out to Bhagavan, Bhagavan will manifest as Guru, as some positive satsanga, and induce the sattva again and again and rejuvenate the noble thoughts and help us eliminate those negative thoughts. Okay, so that is his promise. Another promise that we are going to reflect upon today is from chapter 6, 40th verse, in the context of Yoga Brishta, when Bhagavan says, Nahi kalyanakrit kaschit durgatim tata gachati, meaning a doer of good never comes to grief. A doer of good never comes to grief. No one engaged in good will meet with a deplorable end. There will be no ruin for him here in this world or in the hereafter. A doer of good never comes to grief. That is one who acts rightly in the present will not come to suffer in the future. Okay. Nahi kalyanakrit kaschit durgatim tata kachati. Kalyanakrit, one who engages in good. Kaschit, no one who engages in good. Durgatim, for him a bad ending, grief, suffering, ruin. Na gachati, he will not attain. And he addresses Arjuna as Tata. Tata means not Tata. Tata means son, Putra. Krishna as a father out of fatherly love, as a guru also approaches the disciple out of compassion and love. Such kind of love, he says. And in what context, that is very important. A doer of good never perishes. He never comes to grief. He will not be ruined here or hereafter. Sometimes for us in this world, it seems like those who are doing good only are suffering and all that. But it will not be, it's not that their suffering will be like, out of vain or something. But we have to understand the context here. The context here is not about anybody just engaged in some kind of noble act or some good here. Although that also is true and it's applicable. Here it is in the context of Yoga Brashta in the Dhyana Yoga 6th chapter. Arjuna gets a fear for a spiritual aspirant, a full-time spiritual aspirant, a sannyasi, fears for a sannyasi who has given up all duties, all karma, and has taken up uh, meditation, and he has taken up all sadhanas, spiritual sadhanas as full-time to attain liberation. But somehow maybe his time has run out and is not able to attain perfection in yoga. To that person, what happens? Does he get lost? Are all his efforts in vain? He has put so much efforts, he's given up all his duties, his possessions, his family, and everything. He's become a full-time seeker, engaged fully in Guru Upasadhana, that is Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, reflecting upon the scriptures and abiding and meditating upon the truth. But before he can attain it, the perfection, before he can attain the siddhi in it, his time has run out and he has to leave his mortal coil. What happens to him? Is he like a rent cloud? That is a cloud that comes off from a piece of cloud that comes off from another cloud before attaching to the next one. It might get lost. Is that the end? So in that context, Sri Krishna says, no good effort goes in vain of a spiritual seeker. Any sincere effort that he makes will not go in vain. Will not go in vain. Don't worry about it. That is what he promises. Okay. So Arjuna's fear is for an unsuccessful yogi and what will happen to him. So his question here is for a sannyasi, because a karma yogi, one who is not yet left his family duties, who's still engaged in duties, for him there is no question of ruin. But for one who has given up his duties also, with the hope and with the goal of attaining the truth, what will happen to such a person? So then Sri Krishna answers that it depends. There can be two different possibilities. After enjoying, bhogas in higher worlds, after exhausting his punya, that soul which has departed will be reborn again on the world, on earth, as a human birth in a pious and a prosperous family and take up his sadhanas from there. Okay. Or if he is such a Vairagi Purusha, he did not want any bhoga, any pleasures or any craving for the higher world or anything, then he may be immediately born again on earth in human birth in a family of wise yogis who are practicing spiritual wisdom. Okay, these are the two possibilities for such a person. So don't you worry about them. So here, one thing that we have to remember, that death, according to our Hindu Sanatana Dharma, according to our scriptures, death is not the showstopper. It cannot clip the continuity of existence. It is just one of the many experiences of life. It's not something that starts with the accident of birth. Gurudev, I'll say exactly what he says. Gurudev says, to consider death as end of life, which started with the accident of birth, is a rudimentary philosophy and not to be considered as a complete or exhaustive philosophy. So Krishna says, do not worry about it. Engage in spiritual sadhana and don't worry about, what will happen if you do not succeed in it. Nothing will go in vain. I'll take care of them. I will take care of the sadhana and the results of the sadhana of a sadhaka. It just gives such a relief. So, such an assurance from Shri Krishna, isn't it? So, all these promises, like I said, it's not that he has to keep it, fulfill it now, making efforts. It's all already taken care. It's just to relieve us of that grief or fear or anxiety. So we are anxious, no, sometimes what will happen when there is so much adharma? Don't worry. When there is adharma, when there is a need, I will come. Whether it is personally for you or in this world, I will manifest myself. Then there is this anxiety also. Okay, I'm in spiritual sadhana, but I'm getting old. I don't know. Keep hearing so many news around me. When is my time? I don't know. There is that anxiety. Don't worry, even whatever time you have, you just focus on the job in hand. I take care of your spiritual progress. I take care. Nothing goes in vain. You don't have to start all the way from A, B, C, D. That is such an assurance, very, very assuring. Then in 8th chapter, Nakshara Brahma Yoga, Bhagavan promises liberation for those who attain him. That is, there he says, the 14th and the 15th sloka of 8th chapter. Tasyaham sulabha partha nitya yuktasya yoginaha. Nitya yuktasya yoginaha. Ananya cheka satatam yomam smarati nityashaha. Tasyaham sulabha partha nitya yuktasya yoginaha. So Shri Krishna says, I am ever available and easy to attain for those who seek me truly. Okay. For those who seek me truly, I'm ever available, he says, and easily. Tasyaham sulabha partha. For whom nityashaha nitya yuktasya yoginaha. One who sincerely seeks me. Not that there are, sudden peaks of passion, of devotion, and then there is a low. Not like that. Always in constant remembrance of the Lord and unwavering devotion. Not for those who seek him also, but for those who seek him only. Not for those who seek him for this or that. If we seek him for this or that, he may or may not give, depending on whether it will help us or not, and whether we deserve it or not. We all seek him, yes. It's not that we don't seek him, but sometimes we seek him just once and then there is nothing. And then we seek him also for this purpose, for fulfilling this wish of ours or that wish of ours, to relieve us of some pain or sorrow. Those are the reasons, right? But if and when we seek him truly for his sake, for God's sake, that's all. For such people, he promises he is easily attainable and ever available. And that's not the end of the promise. What will I gain by attaining you, right? That's the next thing. Why do we even want to attain God? Because attaining God, then there is no more sorrow. Mamupetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmanaha samsiddhim paramam gatim gataha. So, having attained me, Mamupetya, having attained me, Punarjanma Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam Napnuvanti. They do not have rebirth, which is Ashashvatam, a transitory world. In this transitory world, to be born again and again. And that also, if it's an enjoyable thing, that's okay, but it's Dukkhalayam filled with pains. So after you reach me, there is no pain, there is no suffering, there is no what? There is no rebirth. But what is the cost of it? There should be uninterrupted, constant remembrance, single pointed remembrance of the Lord all throughout our life. When that is the case, when you want me for me alone, when you seek me truly, sincerely for me alone all the time, then I am very easy to attain. And by attaining me, all your pains and sufferings end right then and there for good. There is no more rebirth. There is no more suffering. That's what he promises. See, this is again in what context in Akshara Brahma Yoga in the 8th chapter, when Shri Krishna says there are so many ways to reach him at the end of the life. For a yogi, for a meditator, where he realizes, he comes to know that his end is arrived, that is, his death is near, approaching, then because of the sheer strength of the practice of all the abhyasa of meditation and yoga that he has practiced, he gives so many upasanas. He gives 2 or 3 upasanas saying how he can control his breath. By controlling the breath, how he can bring his life force and all his consciousness and awareness and all his pranic energy, through the channel, through the all this vital energy, and focus it here, and then exit thinking of the Lord. And how remembering him and thinking of the Lord, when he exits his mortal coil, he will come to attain Lord, will come to merge with the Lord. Those upasanas, when he is explaining in Akshara Brahma Yoga, that might just, when we go through that, you will know that it seems quite a difficult task. At the end of the life, when the death is near, when nothing is out of control, how to control all the pranic energy into that cannot happen just by mere practice of 5 days, 1 week yoga, 1 month yoga, 1 year yoga, or nothing like that. It takes a lot of practice, sincere practice, and perfection. Right? When in that context, he says, but I'm easily attainable and ever available without all those, yoga and practices and prana and getting all the life force here and there. Without any of those things, all you have to do is remember me sincerely and only me. And how you can do that? If you have remembered me all through your life, then you will remember me at the end of your life. And when you do that, you will attain me. And attaining me, there is no rebirth. That's what he says. Okay. Again, many places, many of these slokas just remind us, keep reminding us that it is not death that we should be afraid of, but it is a rebirth that we should be afraid of. Death is just a consequence, it's a result which is already impending, right? So that is not something that we need to be scared of, but it is the rebirth that we need to be scared of. And we should pray not for deathlessness. Asuras prayed for deathlessness, to be immortal in that body. That's not possible at all for any being, isn't it? So it's not for deathlessness that we pray for, but we pray for what? That there should be no more rebirth. And God assures, promises that there will be no more rebirth for one who reaches me. And how do you reach me? Very simple. If you remember me constantly and sincerely, I am already there. I am already attained. Okay. Again, Gurudev, in his own style, okay, he says, because we remember God when then and there. There is a term I call in fits and spurts, something like that. There's a phrase they say. Okay. Ipo konjam, appa konjam. Whenever, right? So he says, here the promise is only if you remember me constantly and throughout your life, right? So Gurudev says, prayer is not like an insecticide to be sprayed regularly. It's not like that. And again, this divine altar, this prayer room is not like a bathroom where you enter in dirty and walk out clean. It's not like that. This divine consciousness has to be remembered and maintained throughout our life, throughout the day, all days throughout your life. It should be just remembered, this divine consciousness, this God, we should, like the dancer who dances, never loses sight of the rhythm. A singer, a musician, the background music is always there, that Shruti. Like that, it should be in our life, all through our life, all throughout the day, all through all our experiences. Just be in constant remembrance, just be aware. Not that you don't do anything else, but that is remembered always. So that is the promise of the Lord. Again, a very beautiful sloka in the 9th chapter where Bhagavan promises what? Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. Yoga and Kshema, I bring, I carry, I arrange. For whom Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Ye Janav Paryupasate Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahamyaham. Again, this is for Ananya Shintayantaha. Again, for those who have this unwavering devotion in me. In the 8th chapter, he said, for one who has unwavering devotion and remembers me at the time of death, because he has remembered me all throughout the day, all throughout his life, then for him, he can attain me at the time of death, and attaining me, he will not be reborn. That was the promise. But what about in life? I'm constantly remembering you. Will that mean in this world, in this life, in this birth, in this human body, will I have to go through sufferings? Then at the end only you will promise me that you can attain me and shall have liberation. But what about in this birth, in this Janma itself, in this human body, will I have to suffer? No. Bhagavan says, I provide what you lack and preserve what you already possess. Yoga is attaining what we don't have, and Kshema is preserving what we already have. Both those things I take care. I preserve what you already possess, and I provide what you lack. I will take care of those two things. If you take care of what? Remembering me, if you remember me. Okay. So when there is Ananyas Chintaha, that is Ananya Bhakti means what? When one does not feel separate from God. There is so much love towards God that one feels that everything is Lord's will. There is no dharma or adharma also. Everything is happening by His will only. And so much in line, so much in tune with His presence, then such a devotee will not feel the need also for yoga or kshema. Bhagavan takes care of all those things. Just like the baby when it's in the womb of the mother, because of the sheer fact that the child is inseparable from the mother automatically nourishes. The nourishment comes out of the mother for the child in the womb. So when such kind of self-surrender and inseparable uh, feel, inseparable nature is there, then God does take care. Take care. That's His promise. That's His promise. And Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji in his Bhashyam very beautifully, cutely says, for everyone, it's Lord alone who provides yoga and kshema. For everyone, whatever we need, Bhagavan only is providing. But for those of us who think that we are putting efforts and we are earning it through our hard work, He makes us put the efforts and pays for the efforts, like the boss pays for our efforts. But for the devotee who has self-surrender, who feels inseparable, who is ever in unison with the Lord, for him, it's God who is doing everything. Very beautiful verse. That sloka almost comes like a pendant in the necklace of Bhagavad Gita. The necklace of Bhagavad Gita, it is like a pendant. It is almost in the middle, in the center piece. Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. Like Bhagavan Bhashyakara said, for everyone, it's God alone who provides, isn't it? This air that we breathe, everything, the food, the shelter, all our need is taken care of and it's given for free. The sunlight, whether one is a believer or not, when one is born in the world, oxygen is there, milk is there in the mother's breast. Our basic needs, God always provides, but not for our greed. So here again, that almost in many of these promises that is going to come hereafter, this Ananya Bhakti, and Upasana, Paryupasate, those two words are going to be repeated, three words actually. Nitya, Ananya Bhakti, Paryupasate, Upasana. So what does that mean? We have to reflect a little bit. Okay. So what is that? Upasana means what? Worship. Worship. That very word upasana means to sit near something. And when it comes with the prefix pari upasate, pari upasana means to sit near with something in all aspects, always. Always. Pari upasate. Okay. It's like this log of wood which is placed near fire. For a long time, it catches fire and becomes fire. Like that, when one is devoted to the Lord so much, the love is there flowing like a dhara, like a waterfall or a stream of ghee, unwavering, unswerving, like a line. It is there all throughout the life, all through the experiences. God is remembered. That is Pari Upasate. That is Ananya Bhakti, Ananya Chintaha, Nityashaha. All this literally means the same thing. When that is the case, what all God promises, first thing is in this very life, don't have anxiety about yoga and Kshema. That person will not have, but we will have for that person. Ayu Pavam, who will take care of him? He's all the time thinking of the God. Don't worry, if you care, you do. God is taking care. Through you or anybody, he will take care. Or we will have, even before we even start the first step, we will have these doubts, no? If I think of God, who is going to feed me? To remove those anxieties. A true devotee will not have that anxiety at all in this world. And then at the end, he will remember me because he has always thought of me. And remembering me, he will reach me. And reaching me means no more rebirth. That is what he has said. For Ananya Bhakti, these are the things. Here, hereafter. Okay. And while striving, if someone breaks also, then don't worry. You start off from where you left. That also I take care. He has promised. The same ninth chapter, slokas 30 and 31, one asks, okay, you're all talking so far promising for those good people, no, with some sattvic tendencies and who will like you naturally because they're good, they are sattvic. Okay. But what about sinner? I've been a sinner. Sometimes this thing is there in our mind. I'm the greatest sinner of all times. I'm the worst sinner of all times. I have committed such sins, such vicious things. My nature, I feel so dirty, so dirty. I don't deserve this compassion. God will not touch me. He will not see me. I feel like a leper, so dirty. That itself is a showstopper. That itself is a huge block, is an obstacle. It's a clog, isn't it? How can we be such a sinner? Huh? So that again is so beautiful about our Shastra, where Vedas say, don't condemn the sinner, condemn the sin. Vedas condemn the sin. And because we believe when our thoughts change, then the behavior also will transform automatically. Not only belief, we all know that when the thoughts change, the behavior will be transformed, the human will be transformed. So there is no such thing as eternal damnation to the sinner. You are damned eternally to hell. No. Hell also, that experience is there, but you go like a dirty cloth put into a washing machine, will get washed and come back out clean. That way, those experiences are needed to purge our uh, sinful tendencies, and then we come back out to earth. In that ninth chapter, when this kind of anxiety may arise, api chetasi papebhya sarvebhya papakrittamaha. If one is the most vicious, worst of most sinful man, if that person also a man of most sinful conduct, can't say most sinful sinner, a man of most sinful conduct, if such a person also worships me with, again, he has made that firm resolve, he has rightly resolved to worship me, and with unwavering devotion, he has started worshipping me, then he is to be considered righteous. 30th way says, by resolving that way, he is to be considered already as a sadhu. Sadhureva samantavya. And in the very next sloka, 31st sloka, he says, Kshipram bhavati dharmatma, shashvat shantim nigacchati, kaunteya pratijanihi, name bhakta pranashyati. He says, my devotee never perishes. Even whatever his past might have been, he might have been the worst sinner, whatever hatya, whatever thing he did. But once he has resolved and then puts in efforts sincerely to want me alone, to reach me alone, to attain me alone, for those efforts, for that change of behavior, I will reward him. And he says, Pratijanihi, he says, Krishna asks Arjuna to declare, to proclaim to the world very boldly, Name Bhakta Pranashyati. My devotee never ends. Because what? Arjuna is very much the testimony for that. Isn't it? In Arjuna's life, not that he was a sinner or something, maybe in the past, who knows, but Arjuna himself is proof that God's devotee, Krishna's devotee never perishes. Whatever task may seem impossible also, God makes it possible for them. Whether it is killing of Bhishma Pitamaha, who can only die on his own will, or Dronacharya, such a master of Ayudha, archery and weaponry and everything, or Jayatratha, who had that boon, almost impossible to kill him or to behead him. Even such a person was beheaded. And Karna was born with Kavacha Kundala. He was also eliminated. Nothing is impossible. The devotee never perishes because he has chosen the God. Whatever his past might have been, now he has chosen. He has rightly resolved. So he is already to be considered as a sadhu, and God takes care of him. It's not like once sinned, ever a sinner, he has to be damned to hell. Not like that. See, water also, if you take water, dirtiest water also can be redeemed. It can be treated as long as the water element, the H2O element, is not lost. It can be treated to become pure. When that is the case with water, what about us humans? It's a matter of reforming our thoughts. When the thoughts are changed and directed towards God, our actions, our behavior will also be transformed, and not before too long. And that also Bhagavan says, before too long, Kshipram bhavati dharmata. He become very quickly a good person, and my bhakta will never perish. Will never perish. That's a beautiful promise. Then again in the 10th chapter, in slokas 10 and 11, Bhagavan says, Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. That is, Bhagavan promises buddhi yoga, enlightenment. He says he will reveal his true nature for one. Again, who? Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. Out of devotion, one who is ever united with the Lord. For them, Tesham Teshameva anukampartham, out of sheer compassion, residing in their heart, I will remove the darkness of ignorance and light up the lamp of knowledge by giving them buddhi yoga. Nashayami atma bhavastaha jnana deepena bhasvata. I will light up the lamp of knowledge in their heart. I'm already residing there. I'm the antaryami of every being. So when they remember me constantly, I will light up the lamp of knowledge. I will remove that veil of darkness of ignorance and give them enlightenment. For one who seeks me and me alone sincerely. That is the promise once again, Bhagavan gives that promise for one who thinks of him wholeheartedly. In the 11th chapter, Vishwarupa Darshana, where he has given cosmic vision, there also he said towards the end, the 54th sloka, Bhaktya Tvananya Bhaktyato ananyaya shakyah aham evam vidha Arjuna jnatum drashtum cha tatvena praveshtum cha parantapa. That is, it is possible to see, know, see, and merge with me in essence. It is possible. How? Through Ananya Bhakti. Again, like I said, this Ananya Bhakti, Satatam Yukta, Nitya Yukta, Nityashaha, all this means the same. Paryupasate, Nitya Upasate, Nitya Yuktaha, all this means the same. If one knows and feels the presence of a great king, a majestic king, okay, he has come to a palace, this person is also in the same place. Is it enough? You can feel because everybody is in order, everything is in order, everything is spick and span. You know that the king, the majesty is there. You can feel the present. Is that enough? Will you be happy? No, you want to see him. That majesty is here in this very same place. He could be in the other room. I want to see him. I want to be with him. I want to get to know him. I want to befriend him. Right? So too, for a bhakta, he feels the presence of the Lord in this majestic palace, this world, which is the Lord's palace, Lord's residence. He feels that very much that I am here in God's presence, in Lord's residence, I am there. But that's not enough. He wants to see him and experience him, interact with him, then become one with him, become so close to him. Devotee feels that way, and that is all possible. It's possible to know him theoretically through the scriptures, and not only know him theoretically in the scriptures, but also have his vision and experience him in this very life also, and also become one with him in reality. Have not the life of devotees like Andal, so many of those devotees, Nayanmars, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, our Tapovanji Maharaj, they have seen, they have had darshans. Also, it is possible to see the Lord. And he says, in the cosmic form also, it is possible through Ananya Bhakti. In the 12th sloka, I think just two more we will see. And then later on, we will contemplate on it more, but two more promises are there, which I had picked up. There must be many more. The 12th chapter, sloka 6 and 7, where he says, I become the savior. I deliver one from this worldly existence, from the samsaric existence. I become the deliverer. I become the savior of whom ananyeneva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate. For one again, who upasate, who meditates on me, who worships me sincerely with unswerving, undeviating, unflinching devotion. For such a person, Teshamaham Samudharta Mrityu Samsara Sagarat. Okay. That is become primarily identified with me. That's what he says. That's what he asks of us. Like, when our external affairs minister, when he walks into any foreign court also with such confidence, because he's not going there as an individual JS or this or that, not X, Y, Z, right? He goes there identifying with the nation of Bharat. So with such confidence, he speaks of the vision of our nation so confidently in foreign courts also. Like that, when we are in this world, not as XYZ limited individual, but I am the devotee of Lord, the all-powerful, omnipresent, omnipotent Lord, for whom nothing is impossible. So how confident I must be. And when I am like that, when I'm primarily identified as a devotee, as a child of God, how will my actions, how will my nature, how will my thoughts and speech be? If that becomes our primary identity, not as this individual, petty individual, so and so, the mother of this child, the wife of this husband, the daughter of this mother, citizen of this nation, head of this organization, not such petty identities. But when one is truly identified, my God, what he is not capable of. For such a person, God becomes the deliverer from the samsaric existence. He delivers us, meaning he sets us free, liberates us. He assures he shall be the savior. And last but not the least, the very, 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 very beautiful sloka, which we keep repeating so many times. Hmm? Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyah mokshayishyami ma shujaha. Ma shujaha. Don't you worry. I shall free you from all sins. Renouncing all your actions, that is dharma and adharma, all your all your spiritual sadhana also, all your duties also, and all thoughts, all your body, mind, intellect, identification, your entire limitations, everything you surrender unto me and take refuge in me alone, then I shall free you from all sins. Therefore, do not grieve. See, this superficial word meaning is not going to really help us. This we will see. We've been seeing this 25 messages from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This is something which needs to be contemplated upon in great depth, which we will do at the time. But now, just to know that such a promise, where did Bhagavan begin? The second chapter to Arjuna, where he said, uh, Shudram Hridaya Daurbalyam Tyatvo Tushta Bharata. You give up your weakness, stand up like a man, and take charge, discharge your duties, fight. From there to this Sarvadharman Parati. Give up everything, your body, mind, intellect, all your actions, all your sadhanas, everything, and seek refuge in me, and I will deliver you. Don't worry. From there to this, that is where you start, and this is where you conclude. In between everything that has been given are the means to purify us, to increase our devotion towards the Lord, to know Him more and more so we can love Him more and more and do more and more sadhana and strengthen the devotion and purify us more and more. That is what. So from that, get up with manliness and discharge your duties, to renounce all actions and be in unison with me all along. All his teachings is Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and his promise is this. Through karma, okay, purify yourself and you will reach a state beyond karma. This is the life redeeming message of Shri Krishna through Srimad Bhagavad Gita and all his beautiful promises. Like I said, all these are unchallengeable truths, which he will ensure. He has already assured, he has already taken care, and he just has said this to us in words to remove our anxiety. To remove our anxiety. So, with this beautiful Vangmaya Puja of Shri Krishna that we could do, Manomaya Vangmaya Puja, we will consider this as our reverential, very, very most humble offering, as words, as thoughts, this reflections on Shri Krishna and his most priceless teaching. We salute to him and we prostrate to him again and again, seeking his blessings, seeking the strength to remember him always, to bestow on us that unwavering devotion. Avan arulale, avan thalvanangi. He only has to give us that devotion also. Seeking his blessings, we prostrate to him and we end this session for today. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Shishyati. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Shri Krishna Krishna.